This is non-alcoholic guy, and it's time to tie one on.
Hey everybody, Tyler Barker here, aka non-alcoholic guy. So with this video, I'm basically going to talk about my story on why exactly I'm here. And yeah, so basically why exactly I created this YouTube channel in general. So it all starts with basically in middle school. So in around 7th grade, I was diagnosed with ADHD. So throughout that time, I wasn't a terrible student. I bet you my mom would disagree. But I was definitely ornery. I had a hard time paying attention in class. Just in general, just couldn't focus. So I was around 7th or 8th grade. I went to the doctor and I got diagnosed with ADHD. So I started taking medication, and honestly, the impact was just crazy. I was basically a whole new person. I was able to focus. I felt like I was more myself. My grades just completely changed. Just crazy change. So then going into like high school, I was a very goal-oriented kid. I had two main goals basically in high school. I wanted to graduate in the top 1% of my class, which is, pretty ballsy coming from a kid who, averaged around a C in like 6th or 7th grade before I got medicated. So I wanted to graduate in the top 1% of my class, and then 2, I wanted to be able to play collegiate baseball. So freshman to junior year, it was a grind. I worked a couple jobs. I worked at what was that restaurant? I worked as a fry cook at a restaurant called Grinders Above and Beyond. There's many of those restaurants around like the Canton area, Canton-Louisville area in Northeast Ohio. I worked as a custodian in the district that I lived in. But yeah, so classes were a grind. I took a lot of AP classes, a lot of stress. I went hardcore on those classes. So yeah, baseball was a grind. I was always very tentative. I was very goal-oriented. I knew what I wanted, so I knew what I had to do to get there. So that was definitely a grind. So going into my senior year, I was in a good spot. I had talked to a lot of colleges for academics and baseball, and I ended up committing to Heidelberg University, which I'm actually at right now, to play baseball and to further my academic career. So my senior year was kind of my time to let loose, basically. For the first 3 years of my high school career, all I did was like study and work and play baseball. I was kind of sick of it, honestly. I wanted to switch it up. I just was sick of just being, so perfect all the time, doing the good things. I mean, throughout high school, I was in student council, National Honor Society. I was a part of many groups. I had a lot of friends, but I never really had a time to enjoy all that. So my senior year was that time for it. So I still focused on school, got great grades, but I started to, adventure a little bit. Started going to parties. And yeah, there was a point in my senior year where the stress just got to me. I was kind of nervous about the whole change of me going to college. I ended up having a terrible senior year. My last year of baseball for my senior year ended up turning out to be one of the worst seasons I ever had, and I completely responded terribly. I ended up chewing. I just kind of got in a weird funk, like a weird depression. The only good I had going on basically was, I got a cool scholarship to go play baseball and to further my academic career at Heidelberg University. And I had a girlfriend named Hannah, so she was like my crush. I had on her since like middle school basically, and I was finally able to date her. So yeah, things were okay. I mean, I was still very in this sad mode because of baseball. I didn't really respond well to all the failure, but I had a good thing going on with my girlfriend at the time. I hung out with some friends, partied quite a bit. So, I mean, all in all, it was pretty good. So going in my senior to freshman year of college, I was ecstatic. I had a exciting summer. Um, Besides that, my girlfriend and I at the time ended up breaking up because she was going to college in Maryland. So I didn't respond very well to that either. It was probably the saddest moment in my life. I remember the day she left. So I had to work at one of the elementary schools in the district. That morning she left. I remember waking up and just opening my eyes and then thinking, wow, like, she's gone. She's actually gone. So I bawled my eyes out. Just overall affected my summer immensely. I just kind of felt helpless. I just wasn't there. I was doing things I probably shouldn't have, going to parties a lot, drinking, chewing tobacco. Just kind of, I pretty much did those to like find that happiness, to fill that empty space that I had since my girlfriend left and just the end of my, senior baseball career, my high school baseball career. And I was kind of just lost. I was in that helpless phase. Going in that college then, I was still kind of in that funk. The only excitement I really had was like, hey, new beginnings. Let's try to have some fun, meet some new people. So I ended up going down still a pretty dark route. I was drinking quite a bit, going to parties, having fun, meeting girls, meeting other people, just hanging out, normal freshman stuff. But once I started to drink quite a bit, I would get in this I would just kind of like a helpless, depressive, just a weird funk phase. It would happen every single time I drank. Every single time. So I ended up Googling, hey, why is this happening? And it ended up coming to hey, you probably have depression. So I looked into it more and more, and I tried to, lessen my drinking to, make me not sad. I ended up doing it, but it was pretty hard. I mean, I loved going out and hanging out with people, but if it was just going to make me sad, then why keep doing it? So going into my sophomore year, same stuff going on. Sophomore year was kind of a little bit better, still in the same funk as my freshman year. But I decided to go to Heidelberg, Germany, my summer going into junior year. So I decided to go to Heidelberg, Germany, to study German and to study abroad, to basically just explore life, just see what it's all about, just do something weird, you know what I mean? So so I went there, met some great people. There's a couple of Heidelberg students that went as well, and we just had a blast. Went to bars, some cool, weird bars, some bikers, just some interesting German stuff. Beer was amazing, Hefeweizens, Dunkelbier, just some great stuff. But whenever we would go out with our group, I would always get in this shitty phase, this very sad phase of sadness still. And I was pretty much over my ex at the time. I was completely over her. I got another girlfriend named Sarah, which is still my current girlfriend, most beautiful angel ever. But I would still get in this weird, helpless funk, even though I wasn't really sad about my girlfriend. I really wasn't sad about much of anything at the time. But I would still get in this sad phase. So this is where non-alcoholic beer and wine and all those beverages kind of hit my life. So one morning, I lived with this all-German family. They only spoke German, ironically, and I knew no German, really. So one morning, I woke up hungover. My friends and I really got after it the night before. So I woke up, got breakfast. The family always made me eggs and bacon, which is weird because, that's an American thing. But got eggs and bacon. And then the mother handed me a non-alcoholic beer. And I was thinking, why is this lady handing me a beer at 8 in the morning, in which I was just hungover as crap? So I ended up drinking the beer, and I didn't even really want to ask her why she gave me it. So I just drank it without even asking why. So afterwards, I went upstairs and I got on my laptop. And I started Googling, like, hey, like, what is this non-alcoholic beer stuff? Like, what is it? Like, I've never even heard of a non-alcoholic beer prior. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought alcohol was alcohol. So I put research into it, and I didn't realize how big of a market it is over there, especially in Europe, in the UK, all over there, Germany, everywhere over there. And yeah, I ended up searching like the benefits of these beverages, and especially in beer. So there's a lot of proteins, like it gives you energy, it helps your cardiovascular system, etc. There's many benefits to it. And then so I was thinking, and then I found another article, and it said, hey, cures hangovers. I was like, what? And I looked into it, and I guess there's research that it helps hangovers, which is pretty insane to me. So yeah, that was the reason why she gave me it. So I became extremely interested in these beverages. I ended up putting more research into them, and I pretty much fell in love. These beverages are just, I mean, they taste very similar to alcoholic beverages. They bring the same social scenarios around. You can still go to parties, and people like me who might battle depression and anxiety and stuff, who are affected negatively by alcohol, might end up drinking these. So I started to get really intrigued in them, put more research in it, and yeah, I basically fell in love with it. And then I realized that not many people in the U.S., especially people my age, even know about these beverages at all. So that's kind of where the non-alcoholic guy came about. So I decided, like, hey, let me, inform and entertain people with these beverages that have a great influence on society and I think could benefit many people. So me personally, like, I'm not anti-alcohol by all means. I still drink. I just don't drink as much anymore. But I'm starting to, drink these beverages more often, especially if I go to parties where people are drinking a lot. It makes me not want to get, extremely drunk. And yeah. So the whole saying, like, to tie one on, I kind of got it from, like, the night before. So I basically tied one on. It's basically mean to get drunk. So I kind of put the two and two together of non-alcoholic beverages and that saying, or like the action I did the night before. I was handed a non-alcoholic beer, and I thought, like, hey, like, let's put a switch on this saying and just say, like, hey, like, let's get drunk on life. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, that's kind of how I got to this point. So to further this on, I plan on, like I always said in my first video, to inform and entertain people with these beverages. So yeah, that's my story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your comments and anything you have to say about this. Maybe if you want to hear, about that story with my ex-girlfriend at the time. There's a cool love story with that I'd love to share. So I really appreciate you watching this. I hope you comment. Please subscribe. Thank you.